What if I told you there's a force more mysterious than the deepest ocean, more powerful than a hurricane, and more healing than any medicine? A force that can resurrect hope, restore faith, and transform a broken man into a warrior again. Tonight, we're diving into that force, the extraordinary, quiet, unshakable power of a woman's love. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there is a mystery older than time itself, a fire brighter than the sun at its highest noon, a bond stronger than the steel that builds the tallest towers. And that, dear friends, is true love, not the shallow imitation we see plastered across screens. Not the love sold by marketing slogans, but the kind that grows from the depths of the human heart. The kind of love that takes root in the soul of a woman who has chosen fully and completely to give her heart to another. Because a woman in love doesn't just speak with her words. She speaks with her life, with her presence, with every breath she takes. Tonight I bring you a message not of fantasy designed to entertain, nor of illusions meant to distract. I bring you a message of truth, of sacred reality. Let us open our eyes and our hearts to recognize the signs of genuine love. Let us learn not to take for granted the holy ground on which true love stands. Because there is something almost divine about the way a woman in love looks at the man she cherishes. Her gaze isn't limited to her eyes alone. It flows from her spirit, reaches beyond what the world sees, and touches the very essence of the man before her. When the world turns cold and indifferent, when life's relentless storms batter him down, when even his own reflection seems to whisper that he's not enough, she stands firm. She looks at him with eyes that say, "I still see you. I see the man, you are the man you can become." She sees strength beneath his struggles. She sees courage under the chaos. And perhaps most powerful of all, she continues to believe in him, even when he's lost the ability to believe in himself. You see, a woman in love does not demand perfection. She does not tally mistakes or keep a scorecard of failures. What she needs, what her soul craves, is presence, the simple but profound act of him choosing to stay, to show up, to keep trying. And when she sees the man she loves weighed down by doubt, worn thin by failures, and tempted to retreat into the shadows of his fears, she doesn't step away. No, she steps closer, because in her heart she carries a vision of who he truly is. Not merely what he's done or where he's fallen short. She is not blind to his flaws. She sees them with clear eyes. But she refuses to let those flaws define him. She remembers his strength even when it's hidden. She remembers his heart even when he's silent. Because her love isn't built on illusion. It's built on unwavering faith in his potential. There will come moments in every man's life when the weight of expectations feels too heavy to bear, when disappointments pile higher than he can climb, when invisible battles drain the light from his eyes. And in those moments when his voice trembles with uncertainty and his confidence starts to crack, the quiet, steadfast voice of a woman in love becomes an anchor for his drifting soul. She doesn't scream his shortcomings at him. She doesn't shame him into submission. She simply speaks life back into him, reminding him gently but firmly, "You are more than your mistakes. I see the man you are even beneath the rubble of what you're going through." That kind of love is rare in a world that teaches us to give up at the first sign of weakness. That kind of belief is powerful enough to change a life. And a woman who loves like that, who sees beyond failure, who stands by him in storms, she is a blessing sent from above. Because you see, in a world so quick to cancel, so eager to criticize, so ready to cast aside anyone who stumbles, a woman like this chooses instead to uplift. Her words aren't soft lies meant to coddle. They're words of comfort, wrapped in correction, words that challenge him to rise while reminding him he's not alone. She may look into his eyes and say, "You've strayed from who you are," but she will also whisper, "You can still come back." She may admit with honesty, "I'm disappointed," but her heart will still say, "I believe in you." And belief like that, belief that stands firm in the storm, belief that doesn't waver, even when the ground shakes, is like water to a soul thirsting in a desert. Because every man, no matter how strong or stoic, has moments of weakness. And in those moments, the presence of a woman who sees him, believes in him, and chooses him again and again, even when he struggles to choose himself, that is the love that saves. That is the love that rebuilds what the world tries to tear down. This kind of woman becomes a mirror, not one that reflects a man's failures back at him, but one that shows him his truest, most extraordinary potential. She doesn't just see the man standing in front of her, weary, worried, sometimes wounded. She sees the man he could become if only he dared to rise again. And sometimes that's all it takes for a man to find the strength to stand up once more. Someone who sees a king in him, even when he feels like a fool lost in his own doubts. Don't you see? Her gaze is not blinded by the glitter of the moment or the mask he wears for the world. She is not infatuated with an image. She is in love with his essence, with the raw, unpolished truth of who he is and who he might yet become. Her love doesn't hinge on the size of his bank account, the prestige of his title, or the applause of the crowd. She sees something more eternal, something no money or fame could ever buy. She sees character. She sees the man who even in his darkest nights still tries, still fights, still weeps quietly when no one is watching. And because she sees it, truly sees it, she calls it forth. She waters that hidden potential with words of encouragement, like rain falling softly on parched soil. She protects it with patience, never giving up even when progress is slow or mistakes are many. A woman who loves like this is not weak, though the world may sometimes mistake her gentleness for fragility. In truth, she is mighty beyond measure, because to love someone not only for who they are but for who they can become, that is one of the most sacred callings a person can answer. It takes more than fleeting emotion. It takes discernment to see beyond appearances. It takes courage to stand firm in the face of a partner's storms. It takes faith that doesn't falter when reality looks bleak. And if a man is wise, truly wise, he will not take such love for granted. He will not grow lazy or complacent in the face of a love that refuses to abandon him. He will recognize that to be seen so deeply, flaws and all, and still be loved, that is one of life's greatest miracles. It's a grace that demands gratitude. So if you have a woman who looks at you with eyes that see your best, when you can only see your worst, don't harden your heart. Don't hide behind pride. Open your eyes. Because she's not just loving the man you are today. She's helping you become the man you were always meant to be, the man your younger self dreamed of becoming. There is a love that reaches far beyond what reason can explain. A love that chooses to stay when every logical voice says it's time to leave. A love that believes in the impossible when no one else dares to. When a woman is truly in love, she doesn't just walk beside a man when he stands tall on the mountaintop. She kneels beside him when he has fallen into the darkest valley. She doesn't just celebrate his victories with bright smiles and joyful laughter. She stands unwaveringly in his defeats, offering a hand, a shoulder, and a heart that refuses to leave him alone. And one of the most powerful things she does is see the best in him even when he can't see anything good in himself. You may look in the mirror and see nothing but failure, nothing but regret, every mistake you've made, etched across your past like scars that won't fade. But when she looks at you, she sees something entirely different. She sees potential waiting to be awakened. She sees resilience, the quiet strength that's carried you through every storm so far. She sees the innocent child you once were, full of dreams, and the man you are still becoming even if you don't see it yourself. She sees your tears, though you might turn away or laugh them off. She hears the words you don't say, the fears you keep locked deep inside. And somehow, someway, her heart whispers, you are still worth it. You are not beyond hope. Because when the world reduces you to your performance, to your title, your paycheck, your social status, she doesn't. Her love isn't built on what you've accomplished or how you measure up to others. It's built on who you are, the man beneath the masks, and even more so on who you could become if you choose to rise again. That kind of love is not shallow. It's not born from fleeting fantasy or daydreams that dissolve when times get tough. It's forged in fire, tested by trials, and strengthened in moments of pain and perseverance. It is a love that knows disappointment but keeps showing up anyway. It's a love that doesn't run at the first sign of struggle, but digs deeper, stands firmer, and holds tighter. It's a love that understands that real growth takes time, that real change demands patience, and that real men are not measured by the perfection of their past, but by the courage they show in the present. Because a woman who loves like this does more than stand by your side. She becomes the lighthouse when you're lost at sea, the soft landing when you stumble, the voice of reason, when the noise of doubt grows too loud. She becomes your mirror, not of what you fear you are, but of the man you have the potential to become. It's a love forged in fire, tempered by trials, strengthened by moments most would rather run from. It's born from watching you at your lowest, at your most broken, and still reaching out a steady hand, not out of pity, but out of unshakable belief in you. Because love isn't just an emotion, it's spiritual, it's deeper than words, it's rooted in a quiet, stubborn faith that refuses to die. And then there's something else she does, something the world hardly ever celebrates enough. She nurtures, she builds, she covers. Not because she's weak, but because she's strong enough to do the things others overlook or abandon. She doesn't just nurture your body, she nurtures your soul. When life has drained every ounce of your strength, when the weight of your responsibilities threatens to crush you, she becomes the safe place your heart didn't even know it was searching for. She is the quiet refuge where your restless mind can finally breathe. She asks how your day really went and leans in, waiting for the truth behind your words. She notices the silence you try to hide behind and draws closer instead of turning away. She may not have every answer, but her presence alone whispers louder than solutions ever could. You're not alone. And sometimes that simple, steadfast presence can mend what the harshness of the world has broken. She builds not through shallow flattery, but through faithfulness. Her words aren't empty, echoes meant to inflate your ego. They're bricks laid carefully, patiently, on the foundation of the man she knows you can become. When others tear you down with careless words or cruel judgments, she speaks life into your spirit. She reminds you of your calling, of the purpose etched into your bones. She doesn't let you settle into comfort when she knows you're meant for greatness. And when you stumble or fall short, she doesn't condemn you. She calls you higher, not with shame or harshness, but with a strength that lifts you up. She builds you without needing to be loud, because the best kind of support is not performative. It's real, quiet, consistent, the kind you can lean on, even when the world feels like it's falling apart. And yes, she covers. She sees every flaw, every fault, every hidden fear, but she doesn't expose them to the world. She doesn't wield your vulnerabilities like weapons or throw your secrets into careless conversations. She guards them like treasures entrusted to her care. She covers what others might mock or exploit. In a world hungry for gossip and addicted to noise, she becomes a shield, a quiet protector of your dignity. She doesn't shame you in front of others to make herself look strong. Instead, she lifts you up in private, strengthening your spirit when it's weakest. That is love, not loud, not boastful, but holy and humble. So hear this clearly. If a woman loves you in these ways, if she sees your best when you can only see your worst, nurtures you when you are empty, builds you when you are weary, and covers you when you are exposed. You are standing in the presence of something sacred. That is not luck. That is grace, pure and powerful. Don't take it lightly. Don't dismiss it or assume it will always be there, no matter how you treat it. And above all, don't let it fall through your fingers out of pride or complacency. Because there is something sacred, something almost divine in the way a woman loves when that love runs deep. She doesn't just show up for the good days, for the easy laughter, for the bright mornings. No, when she truly loves, she steps boldly into the storm at your side. She locks her hands with yours and holds on through every gust of wind, every crack of thunder, every moment you think you might not make it. When you're worn down by life's relentless demands, when you're lying awake questioning your worth, when your spirit feels tired and heavy, she doesn't turn away or wait for you to find your own strength. She steps in quietly but powerfully. She doesn't need to shout her love from the rooftops or post it for the world to see. She lives it out in the quiet shadows, in the small unseen moments where no one is watching, because her love isn't for show, it's for you. She sees the best in you even when you're drowning in your worst. When you're tangled in failure, lost in confusion, surrounded by people who only notice what you've done wrong, she refuses to reduce you to your mistakes. She sees the brokenness, yes, but she sees past it, beyond it. She remembers the spark that first caught her heart, the strength you've shown even in moments you thought you were weak, the dreams you once whispered when you still believed in yourself. Her love is not blind, it is brave. It stares straight into your mess and still believes in the masterpiece waiting inside you. She chooses to stay when it would be far easier to walk away, when the world would tell her she'd be justified in giving up. Not because you always deserve it, because, let's be honest, none of us deserve that kind of steadfast love every moment, but because she believes there's still more to you than what you're showing. She doesn't love what you do. She loves who you are at your core, underneath every layer of fear, pride, and failure. And then, quietly, faithfully, she begins to nurture what's broken. She doesn't just throw out empty words, telling you to be better or fix yourself. She makes space for healing. She becomes a place of rest when the world outside has worn you down to nothing. You may have walked through the fire of regret and disappointment, but when you come to her, her presence feels like peace. The kind of peace that doesn't erase your pain, but reminds you you're not alone in it. She sees the pain you hide behind your pride, the ache you try to cover with laughter or bravado. And instead of pushing you harder, instead of judging you, she covers you with kindness. She offers a soft place to land, a refuge from the storms raging inside and out. She doesn't wait for you to ask either. She senses when you need comfort before you even realize it yourself. But make no mistake, her softness is not weakness. She is gentle, yes, but she is also strong, stronger than many will ever know. She builds you up with words that speak life when all you hear is doubt echoing in your mind. She corrects you when you need it, but without crushing your spirit or shaming you for your mistakes. She believes in your future more fiercely than you believe in the failures of your past. While others might walk away or remain silent, you'll find her working behind the scenes, praying for you when you can't pray for yourself, lifting you up. When you can't stand tall, doing everything she can not for recognition or reward, but because loving you means helping you rise. She doesn't feed your ego with flattery that fades in the light of day. She feeds your purpose. She reminds you of who you are and who you're meant to be. She encourages the fire in your soul when life's disappointments try to smother it. And that's the part so many people miss. About a woman like her, she's not just loving the man she sees today. She's loving the mission you carry inside you. She invests not just in your comfort or your happiness, but in your calling, the deep God-given purpose that gives your life meaning. A woman in love doesn't settle for being a spectator in your story. She refuses to be just a pretty face on your arm or a passive companion. She wants to walk beside you on your journey. She wants to share in the struggle as much as the joy, the work, as much as the celebration. She asks the questions you try to avoid, the ones that challenge you, to grow the ones that stir your heart back to life when you start drifting. She remembers the vision you once shared with her when you were brave enough to dream, and she's not afraid to remind you of it when you start settling for less than you were made for. Because in the moments when you forget who you are or why you started, she'll be the one to whisper, "You are more than this. You were made for more than this." She will not let you drift quietly into mediocrity or hide behind excuses. She will hold you to the greatness she knows is inside you. And when you doubt yourself, she will stand in that gap, believing for you until you can believe again. You see, she isn't drawn to what's easy, to the comfort of a life with no challenge or change. She's drawn to meaning, to purpose that stirs her soul and yours. When she's truly in love, she can't settle for simply watching you survive the days. She longs to see you thrive, to watch you grow into the man she knows you were born to become. She believes there is something unique and powerful inside you, something the world desperately needs, and she's willing to fight beside you to bring it forth. Even when no one else notices your potential, she's right there whispering, "Keep going," believing for you when your own faith wavers. That kind of woman doesn't just want a life with you. She wants a legacy through you. She wants to build something lasting, something that will outlive your time together. She wants to stand with you as you pour your gifts into the world, not just so she can say she supported you, but because she sees your purpose as something sacred, something worth sacrificing for. And so if you have a woman who loves you like this, who sees your worth when you're blind to it, who nurtures your soul when it's dry and brittle, who builds you up instead of tearing you down, who invests in your dreams as fiercely as if they were her own, then understand this: you are walking with someone who loves you, not for what she gets, but for who you can become together. There is a kind of love that doesn't need to shout its presence to the world, doesn't demand grand gestures or constant reassurance, doesn't perform for the applause of others. It moves quietly but powerfully, shaking a man's soul to its core. It is the love of a woman who is truly, deeply, fearlessly committed to you, not just to the easy moments, but to every part of your journey. When she loves you like this, it isn't with conditions or contracts. It's with covenant, a sacred promise that says, "I am here. I am for you. I am with you." She doesn't love only the version of you that shows up smiling, strong, and successful. She loves the you who is still growing, still stumbling, still searching for your place. She sees the man underneath the mask, the one who questions himself late at night, who feels overwhelmed when the world's weight is too heavy. And when you look in the mirror and see only your mistakes, only your shortcomings, she looks at you with eyes full of quiet, determined belief and says, "I still see more." And sometimes that is all it takes for a weary, broken man to begin to heal, to believe again. She knows your flaws intimately. She's seen your tired eyes, heard your angry words, stood beside you when defeat threatened to swallow your spirit. But she also sees something sacred in you, that the world overlooks: the man who tries, who hopes, who carries burdens no one else knows. Her love isn't blind, it is fully aware, but it chooses to believe in your better self until you can rise into it. She holds up a mirror to your greatness, reflecting the strength and goodness you've forgotten, especially when all you can feel is guilt or failure. And that is not weakness. It is one of the strongest, bravest things any human heart can do. And it doesn't stop there. She nurtures what's inside you, that you've buried, the parts of you you've silenced because you were told they didn't matter. She senses the exhaustion behind your forced smile. She feels the ache you try to hide behind your busy schedule, or your practiced jokes. And in those moments, she offers peace without expecting anything in return. Her presence becomes a sanctuary, a place where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to prove your worth, where you can simply be. She feeds your soul in the quietest, most tender ways, a kind word spoken when you least expect it, a gentle hand on your back when you feel alone, a prayer whispered over you when you didn't even ask for one. When the world demands you be tough, unfeeling, unbreakable, she gives you the rare permission to let down your guard, to be vulnerable, to breathe without fear of judgment. She builds too, not just with empty praise, but with truth spoken in love. She tells you when you're slipping, not to shame you or wound you, but to help you find your footing again. She challenges you not to control you, but because she knows you were made for more than drifting through life. She calls out the laziness that keeps you small, but always with compassion, always with the goal of lifting you higher, of helping you step into the greatness she sees. Because when a woman loves like this, she becomes more than a partner. She becomes a protector of your very soul. She safeguards your dignity even in moments when you stumble and fall. She doesn't broadcast your failures or expose your weaknesses to the world. Instead, she covers them tenderly like precious treasures entrusted to her alone. She holds your secrets with the care of someone who knows how sacred they are. She doesn't let careless words or gossip tear you down when you're not there to defend yourself. Instead, she becomes your quiet champion, standing strong when others mock or doubt you. And perhaps most powerful of all, she believes in your comeback before it even begins seeing possibility, long before you do. That kind of covering doesn't just comfort a man, it restores his strength, renews his courage, and helps him stand taller than before. Beyond the comfort of her care, beyond the healing of her gentle touch, her heart is fixed on something higher, your purpose. She's not just in love with the man standing in front of her today. She's in love with the man you're becoming, the man you were born to be. She asks the questions that stir your soul awake when you start drifting. She challenges you firmly, but lovingly, when you begin to settle for a smaller life than you're capable of. She pushes you forward when fear tries to hold you back. She doesn't let you forget the vision planted deep in your heart. She doesn't distract you with what's easy or comfortable. Instead, she reminds you sometimes with a whisper, sometimes with a fire in her eyes, of why you started, of what you're meant to do. She doesn't just crave your time or presence. She longs to see you fulfilled, to see you walk in the reason you were born. Because to her, love isn't about taking what she can get. It's about multiplying what you can become together. That kind of love comes not to drain, but to overflow, not to clip your wings, but to see you soar higher than you thought possible. And when you forget who you are, when you lose sight of the man you're meant to be, she reminds you not with lectures or scolding, but simply by standing beside you. She doesn't need to raise her voice or point out your failures. Her presence alone speaks louder than any words ever could. That's not fantasy. That's love with deep roots. Love that doesn't run when storms hit, love that holds its ground, even when the ground shakes beneath your feet. That is the kind of love that stays unwavering, unafraid, unyielding. And when you're tired, when life has taken more from you than it's given, when your energy is drained and your hope is flickering, she doesn't stand by helplessly. She nurtures you with a strength so gentle it feels like peace in a world that only knows chaos. She becomes the calm when everything else is noise. She gives you room to breathe, space to be real, freedom to weep, and the safety to be weak without fear of judgment or shame. She senses what you don't say, hears the words caught in your throat, feels the weight you hide behind your silence. She builds you not just with sweet compliments, but with unshakable conviction. She'll challenge you when you start to drift, yes, but not to tear you down, always to call you up, always to pull you closer to the man she knows you can be. And when life exposes you, when your flaws are on display for the world to see, she doesn't join the chorus of critics. She covers you. She protects your name when it's on the line. She doesn't broadcast your battles or mock your mistakes. Instead, she stands guard with quiet courage, shielding you from a world that can be harsh and unkind. But her love doesn't stop with comforting your heart or patching up your wounds. No, she wants more for you than mere survival. She doesn't just want to see you standing. She wants to see you running, thriving, living the purpose you were born for. She's not content to watch you settle for less than what's inside you. She sees the fire God placed in your soul, and she refuses to let you walk away from it, even when you feel like giving up. She'll sacrifice her own convenience to support your mission. She'll stay up late to help you plan, brainstorming with you when your mind is clouded with doubt. She'll pray for you in the quiet hours when you don't even know what to pray yourself. She is not a distraction that pulls you off course. She's a divine alignment sent to steady you on the path you were meant to walk. She sees not just the man who stands beside her each day, but the mission that man carries in his spirit, and she's all in heart and soul. Because she knows that your calling isn't just yours. It's something she's meant to nurture, to champion, to believe in until it's fulfilled. Still, real love doesn't live in poetry alone. It can't survive on words whispered in the dark or promises made in the glow of fleeting emotion. Real love must show up in action, and she does. She proves her love in the steady consistency of her presence. She doesn't disappear when you're down or when you're hardest to love. She leans in even closer. She doesn't just say, "I love you." She shows it in the way she listens when you can't find the words, in the way she remembers the things you said long ago, in the way she gives without expecting anything back, in the way she serves you quietly, faithfully. When you're too overwhelmed or proud to ask for help, she steps in anyway, uninvited, but never unwelcome. When the world pulls at your peace, when demands pile high and pressures mount, she becomes your living reminder that love is still alive, that grace still exists, that someone sees you and chooses you even in the chaos. She doesn't wait for perfect days or perfect moods. She shows up in the ordinary, in the messy, in the middle of the mundane. That is where her love shines the brightest. And more than all of this, more than her unwavering belief, her tireless care, her gentle strength, or her constant actions, the greatest thing she gives you is her choice. She chooses you. Not just once, not just on the day you promised each other forever, not just when life was easy and laughter was effortless. She chooses you every single day. She chooses you on the mornings when you wake up distant, when you've pulled back into yourself. She chooses you on the nights when she's exhausted and the day has drained her spirit. She chooses you when the thrill has faded, when the butterflies are quiet, when the emotions run low. Because real love, lasting love, is not a fleeting feeling. It is a decision, a daily, deliberate, fierce decision to stay, to fight, to love. So if you are loved like this, remember it is not something you've earned. It is a gift beyond measure. Don't take it lightly. Don't let it become invisible through routine or complacency. Treasure it, nurture it, and let it inspire you to rise into the man she sees when she looks into your eyes. Because a love like this can change your life if you choose to see it, honor it, and never let it go. And every single morning she wakes up and makes a quiet, powerful decision to stay. To be there, to stand by your side, no matter what the day holds, to walk with you through uncertainty, and to believe in you all over again. Even on days when you don't believe in yourself. She doesn't choose you only when you're strong, confident, or winning. She chooses you when you're doubting, when you're weak, when you're fighting silent battles you think no one sees. She chooses you again and again, not out of obligation, but out of a fierce, unwavering love. So if you are blessed to be loved by a woman like this, don't wait until she's tired. Don't wait until she's gone. Don't wait until life teaches you her worth. By taking her away, see it now, feel it now, honor it now. Because love like hers isn't common. It's not casual. It's not something that comes and goes with the seasons. This kind of love is covenant, a sacred promise, a commitment that builds you up, blesses you deeply, and breaks the chains of who you were never meant to stay. Her love lifts the weight of shame and whispers to your heart, "You don't have to stay small. You don't have to live chained by old failures." There is a kind of love that doesn't make headlines, doesn't trend on social media, doesn't clamor for likes or praise. It doesn't waver with the weather or flee when storms come. This is the kind of love that stays when everything else falls apart, that holds its ground when life is hardest. When a woman loves you deeply, truly, and without fear, it changes the very air around you. Her love becomes more than affection. It becomes vision. It sees beyond what is to what could be. It sees the man inside you, the man who is still being forged through struggle. Even when you're drowning in your worst moments, when your failures feel like anchors, when you've let people down, when you've let yourself down, when you're staring into the mirror with a heart heavy with shame and a head full of silence, she stands behind you. She meets your reflection with eyes that say, "You are still worth loving." And she says it not because she's blind to your flaws, but because she knows your flaws don't define your future. She knows there's more in you than what this moment reveals. She doesn't just wish you'll heal someday. She becomes part of your healing today. She nurtures you not just with words, but with the quiet power of her steady presence, with her patience, with a knowing sense of when to speak life into you and when to simply sit beside you in the silence. She picks up on what the world overlooks: the slump in your shoulders, the hesitation in your laugh, the quiet sighs that escape when you think no one's listening. And when your confidence falters, when you doubt your worth, when your dreams feel out of reach, she builds you again. Brick by brick, word by word, reminding you of who you are and who you can still become. She doesn't speak to the man who's fallen down as if he's finished. She speaks to the man who will rise, the man who will learn, heal, grow, and become stronger than ever before. And when the world would take your weaknesses and use them as weapons to wound you, she becomes your shield. She doesn't put your pain on display. She guards it like something sacred, knowing your heart deserves protection, not ridicule. Her love runs deeper than pleasure, deeper than fun, or fleeting excitement, deeper than shared moments of laughter. Her love goes down to the roots of who you are. She invests in your purpose, not just your present. She wants to know what burns inside you, the dreams that keep you awake, the calling. You sometimes try to ignore the passions that make you come alive. She doesn't shy away from your fire. She fans it. She doesn't distract you from your purpose. She reminds you of it. She's interested in what keeps you up at night. The ideas you're afraid to speak, the legacy you long to build, the life you dream of living, even when you don't think it's possible. She wants to know what makes your heart race with possibility, what burdens you carry alone, what mountains you're desperate to climb. Because she's not here just to share your life. She's here to multiply it, to stand with you, to encourage you to fight for the future you're meant to create. This kind of love doesn't show up for convenience. It shows up for commitment. It doesn't leave when days turn dark. It shines brighter. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It becomes stronger, more resilient, more steadfast. Her love doesn't just light a candle in your darkness. It becomes a lighthouse guiding you back when you're lost. So if you have been given a love like this, if a woman sees beyond your surface, invests in your soul, stands by your purpose, and chooses you daily without hesitation, don't let routine blind you to the miracle of what you have. Don't waste time waiting for a perfect moment to honor her. Every day is the perfect moment. Treasure her. Cherish her. Protect her love the way she protects your heart. Because love like this can change a man's life forever if he's wise enough to recognize it, brave enough to receive it, and grateful enough to never let it slip away. After everything we've seen about a love that chooses, a love that builds, and a love that fights, this right here is where it all comes together. Because a woman's love isn't just a feeling whispered in the dark, or a promise made on easy days. It's a choice she makes again and again, especially when life tests both of you. And she doesn't just support your dreams with empty words. She supports them with her hands steady and ready to work alongside you. She supports them with her prayers, whispered in faith, even when you don't have the strength to pray for yourself. She supports them with her sacrifices, the quiet letting go of her own comfort, so you can step closer to your purpose. She doesn't distract you from your mission. She sharpens your focus. She doesn't pull you away from your calling. She reminds you why it matters. She's not just in love with your touch or your charm. She's in love with your calling, the fire God put in your bones, the vision you've been given. And her love isn't just something she says. It shows up in what she does day after day, whether you notice it or not. When you're too exhausted to put your thoughts into words, she reads between the lines of your silence. When you're too weighed down to speak, she becomes your calm, your steady, your quiet place. Her love doesn't need a spotlight to prove its worth. It lives in the consistency of small things, in showing up, in standing strong, in holding on when most people would have already let go. She chooses you not just when emotions run high, but even when the fire fades to an ember. Because real love isn't about the thrill, it's about the decision. And she makes that decision daily, to stand by you, to believe in you, to fight for you. When the fire between you burns bright, she leans in. When it barely flickers, she doesn't walk away. She shields it with her own hands until it grows again. Her love doesn't expire. It endures. But maybe the most powerful proof of her love is this: she doesn't just watch your battles from the sidelines. She steps into them with you. When life throws its storms your way, she braces herself beside you. When the burden grows too heavy to carry alone, she lifts it with you, sharing the weight so you don't break beneath it. She may not fight with the same weapons you do, but she fights just as fiercely alongside you, not behind or in front. She isn't just your comfort on the easy days. She is your comrade in the trenches, the one who holds your hand in the dark and whispers courage into your weary soul. When you feel like giving up, when your strength is gone and your hope is thin, she reminds you of why you started. She doesn't let you forget the dream you once held. When the enemy comes for your peace, whether it's doubt, fear, or life's relentless hardships, she becomes your shield. She stands in the gap with prayers you may never hear, with a presence you can't measure, with a love that makes you stronger. She isn't a distraction from your purpose. She is a divine partner in it. So hear me clearly: if you are loved like this, you are standing on holy ground. This kind of love is not common. It is not shallow. It does not seek to be served. It is a gift, a covering, a sacred alliance that can only come from a heart that loves courageously, selflessly, endlessly. And if you are wise, you won't wait until it's too late to see its worth. You won't take it for granted. You won't repay it with complacency or indifference. You'll honor it now. You'll cherish it now. You'll protect it now, knowing that a woman who loves like this deserves a man who doesn't just receive her love, but grows because of it. Because when a woman chooses to love you completely, continually, and courageously, it doesn't just make you feel loved. It makes you better. It calls you higher. It draws out the man you were always meant to be. So let the men who are blessed with a love like this take heed. A woman's love is a sacred gift. It is not something to be wasted or ignored. It is not something to meet with passivity or half-hearted gratitude. If she loves you like this, treasure her. Let your actions speak louder than any words. Return her love with faithfulness, with protection, with commitment worthy of the gift you've been given. And if you don't see it yet, open your eyes, because this kind of love rarely announces itself with fanfare. It moves quietly, but transforms everything it touches. And if you are still waiting for this kind of love to find you, be the kind of man it can trust, the kind of man it can believe in, the kind of man it can stand beside without fear. Let us all be people who honor love, not just with grand promises, but with daily choices, with quiet faithfulness, with lives worthy of the grace we receive. Because, in the end, love like this doesn't just change a relationship, it changes the world. One heart, one home, one legacy at a time.